If you're struggling to lose fat for good and you don't want to lose the same 10, 20, 30 pounds over and over and over again, this video is for you. I'm not interested in helping you achieve an after photo once. I want you to achieve the after photo and keep it for good. In this video, I want to summarize 22 years of fat loss advice, brutally honest advice, having a university education in exercise science, in nutrition, as well as coaching hundreds of people in person, tens of thousands of people online, and having more before and after transformations that I can keep track of. And in this video, I want to share with you exactly what you need to know and what you need to avoid so that you can go to school on all of my learnings and mistakes in this video. I got a good solid 24 tips here for you today, and we're gonna break them down bullet style, nice and simple. So grab some paper, grab a pen, and get ready. Tip 1 is to understand fat loss becomes easy once you understand it's hard. And what I mean by this is once you understand fat loss is much like push-ups, easy but hard when I ask you to knock out 75 of them. The concept of being in a caloric deficit, exercising consistently, very simple concepts to grasp, but the behavioral change and the identity changes that have to happen during the way are much more challenging. So understand that it's easy to lose weight once, completely different to lose the weight and keep it off for good. Tip number 2 is to understand your goal. Are you trying to lose fat or are you trying to lose weight? Losing weight is easy. Just cut off a body part. You probably heard that silly joke. Our goal isn't to lose weight. Our goal is to lose stored belly fat that's come from consuming excess energy. So this is going to be a process of burning it off versus starving it off, because the goal isn't to lose weight and then look skinny fat. The goal is to lose fat, keep all the muscle, and look lean and sculpted. Tip number 3 is be comfortable being hungry. Probably one of the best pieces of advice I ever got was, if you want to lose weight, you have to understand there's going to be a long period of time of hunger. Now there's 2 types of hunger. There's intolerable hunger and there's tolerable hunger. Intolerable hunger, you might be able to willpower your way for 2 or 3 days, but it's not sustainable, and that's when you end up binging and invading the cookie jar and then rebounding really, really bad. Then you got all these feelings of shame and guilt. You feel like a failure, and then you just say, well, what's the point? And you go all the way back to the starting line. Tolerable hunger is manageable. It's a hunger that your body can adapt to, where your body's in a deficit and it's surrendering fat, but not at a rate where your body freaks out and starts to hold on to fat because it says, what the heck are you doing? So we have to be comfortable with tolerable hunger, not intolerable hunger. Tip number 4, I learned this from Dr. John Berardi, and he said, whenever you go into a social setting and you're unsure of what to do, ask yourself this one sentence: will this help me or will this hurt me? And always think about the outcome that you want tomorrow morning when you step on the scale to see that you're on track, and knowing that if I don't make this decision, it's going to throw me off track. Let just that one question be your immediate filter for making better decisions. Tip number 5, protein first. What I mean by protein first is that it is the most important macronutrient to prioritize before everything else. We need protein to build muscle tissue, keep muscle tissue, maintain a healthy metabolism, and ensure that you don't just look like a soft, skinny dude when you're done the cut. Now, how much protein? At least 1 gram per pound of body weight. So if you're 200 pounds, you're gonna have 200 grams of protein spread out between probably 4 or 5 meals per day to make it manageable to consume. But the main thing is that protein is going to help preserve your muscle tissue and ensure that when the fat comes off, you don't look like a melted candle. Tip number 6 is to master your mindset and shift your mindset from outcome goals to process goals to identity goals. 3 types of goals that we can have, and oftentimes we always start with the superficial goal of, I want to lose 20 pounds to look good for the vacation. And again, they're goals that we've set in the past, we've typically failed, and it's just very rooted in just an external outcome. And what we want to do is start shifting these goals to more internal based goals that require us to change our behaviors and eventually our identity. And your body is a walking billboard of somebody who is consistent, somebody who's disciplined, somebody who's a hard worker, and you see yourself as a completely different version of you. So avoiding those foods, not skipping your workouts, waking up at a certain time, it's not based on just the outcome, it's based on this is who I am, this is what I do. And that is when you have a permanent lifestyle change. Tip number 7 is sleep is everything. I used to always laugh at people that needed, an extra hour of sleep, etc. I've learned that sleep is the #1 contributor to being able to lose the fat. And you can throw so much stuff at your body, all the exercise, all the deficit in the world, but if your body is in a state of fat storage because of the stress from not having sufficient sleep, you just can't lose the fat. So if you're not losing the weight, we want to ensure that you're getting sufficient sleep. I like as much sleep as possible before midnight. They say every hour of sleep before midnight is the equivalent of 2 hours sleep, and then waking up when your body wakes up to determine how much sleep is optimal for you. Tip number 8 is the best diet is the diet that you follow. There's a gazillion different approaches, and I do believe there's pros and cons to many of them. For me, it's typically a combination of high protein, meat, fasting, and then carbs timed in and around my workouts. Now we could sit here and debate the pros and cons of every single diet, but ultimately you find one that helps you achieve your physical and performance and physique goals all at once. Tip number 9 is train to gain muscle. I'm a huge believer in hypertrophy training, specifically anything that promotes muscle retention. So how do you build muscle? You have to train with the intention to break muscle down. How do you keep muscle? The exact same way. So I don't switch up my weight training routine when I'm trying to lose weight. It might be slightly higher reps, there might be shorter rest periods, a little more volume, but overall my training program remains the same as if I'm in a caloric surplus, because I'm using the diet and the cardio to create the deficit and not the weight training, because I need the stimulus that built the muscle to keep the muscle. So if I start going crazy high reps and too short of rest periods with the intention I'm gonna burn extra calories, then I risk losing muscle mass, which slows down your metabolism, and then you turn into that skinny fat guy. So when it comes to losing fat, train in the same way that you would train to gain new muscle tissue. Tip number 10 is keep your diet boring. A lot of people want all this variety, they want all this change. The best diet is a boring diet, all right? You don't wanna be stimulating your taste buds when you wanna be in a caloric deficit. Just find some basic foods, whether it's chicken, steak, eggs, rice, potatoes, some easy greens to cook, but you're not looking to make this a restaurant quality meal plan. We just need the basics. Tip number 11, we need a form of cardio that creates a slight calorie deficit. So I'm a big believer in not backing yourself into a corner. And what I mean by that is doing too much too soon where there's nowhere to go. So at the start of a weight loss regime, I like to keep it simple. So walking, 10,000 steps a day, 70,000 steps per week, and then progressing it up to maybe some interval training as well. And then as you get closer to the end, I also kind of like to back off because I don't want to get injured, and then you can't even train anymore. Tip number 12 is consistency. We need to stay consistent because consistency compounds. And I see so many people, you make progress and then you go back 5 days. You make progress, then you go back 5 days with just poor decisions on the weekends. So we got to crash through the weekends. This is typically where everybody completely derails their diet, and you just got to plow right through those social settings and get back on track. The next tip is similar to the previous tip, but it's a mindset to understand you need time. Right? There's nothing that replaces the amount of time you need to burn off stored energy. You probably spent your entire life gaining an extra 30, 40, 50 pounds, if not more. It's not going to just come off quickly. We need time. Tip 14, we're going to need some supplements. I actually prescribe more supplements than most people would probably say. Most people would tell you just take a multivitamin, a fish oil, some creatine and protein powder, and those are great staples to have. I'm a big believer in supplementing based on your deficiencies, which is only going to come from doing blood work or a hair analysis and just figuring out where does your body need more. If you're a male, taking some extra zinc, vitamin D, magnesium is going to help with testosterone levels. Supplements could turn into like a 20-page lists, but start with those basics and then get some blood work, get some hair analysis, figure out what your body actually needs to fill any deficits. This brings me to tip number 15, earn your carbs. Carbs is one of those things that you have to figure out what your body prefers most. I found that when I cut carbs completely, yes, I lose weight, but I look worse. So the way I recommend is that you have to earn them. So on days where I'm not lifting weights, I actually have pretty much no carbs. On days that I am lifting weights, I have them pre and post workout. Tip 16 is probably one of the most important things, is to eliminate stress. When your body is stressed, your body produces cortisol, which causes your body to hold on to fat. And I actually noticed this during contest prep phases where I'm in a deficit and I'm training twice per day and my body weight won't change. And this doesn't make sense. I'm in a deficit. Why am I not losing fat? It's because of the stress. And what you have to do is maybe have a higher carb meal, or you have to pull back on the training a little bit, or you have to have a good night's sleep, and all of a sudden, whoop, it just kind of flushes out. The number one tip I would say is get help. Find a mentor, find a coach, get somebody who can write your workouts, who can write your meal plan, somebody who can hold you accountable, somebody you can do your check-ins with, somebody who can help you interpret what's happening, someone who can motivate you, somebody who can help you make wise decisions, somebody who has a second set of eyes, who can see around blind spots that you can't see and just help you stay the course. I'm a huge believer in having a coach, having a mentor, getting in a community where people can support you so that you're not doing this alone. So there you go. What tip was your favorite? I'd love to know in the comments below. Should we do this for muscle building? Should we do this for another topic? Let me know below, and let me know where I might have missed a tip. What would you have added? Was there something that you would have added that wasn't included in my list of no nonsense, brutally honest advice to lose the weight and keep it off for good? I hope this served you. Until next time, level up or you'll level off. Ciao, ciao.